Okay, this is a reaction video. One thing that people say in your profession that is always a lie. Well, that's interesting. Let's see what is on this one.
What's one thing that people say in your profession that's pretty much always a lie?
When you go to a tattoo shop and say you want something like this or this, like you want like little tiny words, if they say it needs to be bigger because it can't be done that size, obviously they're lying because maybe they can't do it that size, but a lot of times they'll tell you it can't be done that size, when that's because to do something like this, you need a needle grouping of like a 3 liner, which would be three needles together, which is one of the tiniest. There's like obviously single needle, but a lot of artists don't learn how to use those because they're extremely hard to get clean lines with, and that's the tea. So if your artist says they can't do this and they need to make it this big, go somewhere else because it can be done.
That's good to know. If you ever want to get a tattoo and you ever want to get it that size, it can be done. Just go to the right tattoo artist.
Thank you.
What's one thing that people say in your profession that's pretty much always a lie?
So glad you asked. I am a chiropractor. So how much?
I didn't read that. I wasn't able to stop it. I may have to go back and pause it just to make sure that he is a chiropractor, but okay.
How much time do you have? We have just as much training as medical doctors.
Well, fair
You
enough.
need to come in several times a week for several months. You need maintenance care. You need to buy this supplement. If we don't fix that curve, you're going to have problems. We can fix that curve. We can fix your scoliosis. You have pain because of your posture. We can cure diseases. We can prevent diseases. We put your bones back into place and change your alignment. We need to take x-rays before we start treatment
There's an awful lot of lies chiropractors are telling us, apparently.
and after to measure progress. Getting adjusted is just as important as going to the dentist. Getting adjusted is just as good as getting vaccinated. Your baby needs to be adjusted because being born is traumatic. Anything that has a spine needs to be adjusted. You don't need to take those medications anymore. You're in pain because you sleep incorrectly.
Wow, there's an awful lot of lies.
You're in pain because you breathe incorrectly. You're in pain because you sit incorrectly.
You notice he's not actually giving what the opposite, like I said, if you're all these lies that they're telling us. What should they be telling us?
You're in pain because you move incorrectly.
What's one thing that
Okay, if you hear anything like that from your chiropractor, you know he's full of it.
people say in your profession that's pretty much always a lie?
You don't need to soften butter. It's a lie. Maybe back in the day they used softened butter because it was fresh, and then they also had fresh eggs, so everything was the same temp. The dough worked out great, but you don't need it anymore. Things need to be refrigerated.
Okay, we got it. It's no softened butter. You don't need softened butter. You can use regular butter. Got it.
So you take your butter, you chop it up in little pieces, you mix it with your sugar for the creamy method, and then use cold eggs because your butter was cold, so your batter's going to be cold, and your batter works out great. It's perfect. You don't need to soften butter. Only if you're like going to mix by hand, and
She is talking awfully fast.
even then if you're going to mix by hand for creamy method, you need to mix a little bit longer.
I hope I've never ended up talking like that. I mean, talking that fast. I mean, look, it's good to talk fast, I guess, if you're trying to get your point across. And there's a time limit on this stuff, but yeah, but she's really talking fast.
Mix it for 10 to 20 minutes so you incorporate air into the batter, and that it like actually changes color, the sugar and the butter mixture. You're not just gonna like stir it a little, no, a lot. I know what you're thinking. Oh, but my brioche dough uses softened butter. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. How'd you know?
Chop it up in little pieces, throw it in the mixer, let it mix. The friction is gonna heat it up, and you don't want it to overheat either because that will ruin your dough. So yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
What's one thing that people say in your profession that's pretty much always a lie?
I hope this counts, but I really hate it when people say that if you work in art, you'll be a starving artist, especially animation. That's not true. There's this thing called the Animation Guild, and it's basically your guardian angel.
I have to say this is rather interesting. Things that I didn't know, but you know, I'm not a starving artist. I don't work in animation, but okay.
They have like this really big studio list, and all the big boy studios like Disney TV, Nickelodeon, all the good stuff, they're all a part of this union. Not every studio is a part of the union, but let's just hope one day they'll join. The union basically just makes sure you're being paid fairly, and these really long lists of numbers are all minimums. So hypothetically, we work at Cartoon Network, and we're a digital animator, and in our first 6 months, This is how much you make hourly and weekly. Not every 2 weeks, this is weekly. And the longer you work somewhere, the more you'll be paid.
Maybe I should be working in the animation business.
You do have to pay union dues. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's like $115 every 3 months. But I think it's worth it for being protected. And remember, a lot of these are just minimums. This is just the base pay.
What's one thing that
Well, I didn't know people were lying about animation, but that's, again, good to know.
people say in your profession that's pretty much always a lie?
Oh, buddy. I'd say anytime you ask a preacher how many members are in their church, he's definitely exaggerating.
Okay.
What's one thing that people
Okay. Preachers lie too.
say in your profession that's pretty much always a lie?
Oh, buddy, I'm about to expose a lot of professions. Here we go. All right, step one, car dealerships. They don't make hardly any money selling cars. All of their money
I imagine most of their money comes from the add-ons that they try and throw at you, like the automatic doors, things like that. Well, things that come maybe back when I was buying cars. I haven't bought a car since 2012, but I'm guessing the add-ons is where they make their money.
comes from the shop, meaning you come back to get service done or do you buy add-ons or shit like that. So if you want a car for a cheap price, tell them you're going to get all your work done at that dealership and they'll cut you a really good deal. To be a handyman as well. Whenever we say, oh, we just got to run to the store, they forgot to give me this one part. That's not true. We broke something and we're hoping you don't notice.
Again, there you go.
Yeah, let me go check in the back for you real quick. Means we're going to go in the back and talk shit about you.
Not necessarily. I worked retail. We didn't go in the back to talk about you. Usually if we went to the back to look for something, we were one of two things. We were either going to look for something or we knew it wasn't back there. We just wanted to get away from you.
Used to be an accountant as well. Whenever you see discrepancy on your account from like a place or a business or a hotel or something like that, and they tell you, oh, that's just a hold being put on there. 9 times out of 10, it is, but every now and again, somebody fucked up and they're trying to blame it on the computer system because they don't want you to get mad at them. Another one about the hotel, if you try to like check into your hotel and they tell you, oh, we accidentally double booked your room, so we had to move you to another room. I hope that's okay. Sorry. Probably did, and they probably found bed bugs in your room.
Now, that's never happened to me before, but look, if you go to a hotel and they generally not going to tell you that, okay? They're generally just going to say, okay, you're in room such and such, and go. Now, I don't know if that's ever happened to anybody. Let me know in the comments below, but usually whenever I go to a hotel, they change me around to a different room. They don't give me an explanation why they changed me to a room because I wouldn't know one way or the other. They just said, you're in room this number, and then I go there and everything's fine.
What's one thing that people say in your profession that's pretty much always a lie?
I work at a bank, and there's so many lies that banks tell us.
Now, I used to worked for a bank for 7 years, so I'm kind of curious what this guy's got to say about this.
Number one, I work to serve you. No,
Well, yes, we do, but I don't know why that's a lie.
I don't. If anything, we serve rich people, but you guys, we just use...
No, we service everybody. Now, I wouldn't expect you to believe that we treat everybody the same. If you have 10 million versus $10, we're obviously going to treat you differently. But no, we actually work to service the customer.
use to maximize profits. Our job is to peddle as many products to you for you to buy so we can...
I've never had to peddle products when I was at the bank. Worked at the bank 7 years. Never had to peddle products at anybody.
...get more money out of you. Next one is the worst one. Pay attention. Free checking accounts.
Okay, checking accounts are not free, and I don't know if anybody ever told you that they were free, or even came and said, "Yeah, this is free." Checking accounts are not free. Checking accounts are services provided by the bank. Keep in mind, the bank's job is to make money. That's what the bank is there for. That is what the bottom line for the bank. A checking account is. You may say, "Well, I get my checking account for free." No, because you meet the requirements of the checking account. That's why it's free. Okay, so if you go and you don't meet the requirements, then there's a service fee that they put on each month because the bank, like I said, is a service that it provides. But if you meet the requirements, then it's free.
They're almost never free. It's either only promotional for a couple of months for new accounts, or there's a minimum balance requirement, which is always a couple of thousand.
No, when the bank I worked at, you had to have for a checking account, you had to have a direct deposit totaling $500 or more in a month. And if you had that, then you're checking it. You didn't have to pay a service fee.
Dollars, which most cannot afford. Or there's like hidden fees, or if you use the card too much, we're going to charge you for it. Which
Okay, no, I've never run into anything like what he just said there.
brings us to something you've all heard. It's good practice to keep more money in your checkings. False.
No, that's something I've never heard. If somebody's been told keep more money in your checking account, that's completely inaccurate. I've always been told to keep more money in your savings account. But again, if you've been told the opposite, I never told anybody that when I worked at the bank.
Banks just have to pay more interest on savings, which they don't want to do. So they created this line, people fell for it, and now.
No, that's not accurate either, because savings account, look, here's one of the things. When you go to a bank or you put your money in a bank, your money doesn't just sit in one account and just lays there, okay? All that money is always invested, okay? And the bank is making money. So if you're $100, you're $200, you're $10,000, whatever, it's always constantly being invested by the bank. And the bank gets a return on their investment. And they give you a portion of that into the savings account. And they tell you how much they're going to put in there. They're not upset about that because, like I said, if they make, X amount of dollars from their investment and then they're putting money into your savings account, that doesn't bother them at all because they're collecting most of that on your money.
Now it's a common myth. That ties together with a minimum checking account balance. That's why it's so high usually. Banks will not rest until they get every single penny out of poor people.
Again, not entirely accurate. That's not my experience at the bank. I don't know what bank this individual worked for, but no, the bank is a business. They want to stay in business, and they are not trying to get every bit of penny out of the poor people. Now, they will take it. Don't get me wrong. If you make it easy for them to take it, but no, that was never my experience.
People. There's so much more I could say, but let me know if you guys want a part two.
Yeah, I want a
part two of the lies that banks tell us from someone that works in a bank. Overdraft protection fees.
Yeah, the overdraft protection fee is something that, well, again, this comes down to who runs the account. The bank account is run by you. It is your responsibility to run your bank account, to not get overdraft fees. That is on you. But if you do get overdraft fees, keep in mind the bank can refund those fees for you. There's usually a set amount that they will refund back to you with no questions asked.
They're not protecting you from anything. The fees, the prices, they're made up.
Yeah, I would agree with that because I think the overdraft fee was $34 at the bank I worked for. I don't know how they came up with that, but that's, they could have charged $5 for an overdraft fee. They don't need $34. That doesn't make sense.
It's just another way to get money out of you.
True.
Also, something really messed up that banks do is rearrange your activity from highest to lowest.
That's not why they do that.
To get more overdraft fees out of it?
No, the reason they do that is they want to give the amount, like the highest amount. Let's say I spent $50, $20, and $10, and it's going to put me in the negative. They're going to put the $50 fee at the highest because they want to give that the biggest chance. They're going to treat that as the most important payment to get paid, other than the 20 and the 10. So no, that's not why they do that.
Of you, some banks are even known to withhold payment, so you have to pay that overdraft.
No, and again, that's something I never ever experienced. Not in electronic banking, I've never seen that happen.
Fee. Line number 2. Our savings have the best interest rate.
Our savings have the worst interest rates. If you want to get good interest rates from a savings account, you need to take it to get a high interest savings account from like a Bank of New York Mellon or something like that. But no, they have the worst interest rates. That's something I agree. If they say they're the best interest rates, they're usually wrong. And they have to tell you that information. You can ask for that information. You can say, oh, this is garbage.
It's false. Dude, at most, saving accounts are like 1%, maybe 2%. If you put that money into like mutual funds, index funds, passive tradings, or even bonds, you'd make a lot more back.
That's true.
And there's stock apps that let you do it for the cheap. Line number 3 is my favorite. If you choose to invest with a bank, they'll be like, oh, we have the best financial experts on.
They have good financial experts, but they don't have the best financial experts. I partially agree with this.
Board to help you. No, they don't. They will almost never beat the market, but they'll charge you for it. And those charges add up.
No, they have some good people there. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I understand what he's saying, but no, they have some good people there that really do look out for your best interest. Okay, he looks like he's ticked off because he thinks that they're trying to milk money out of the poor, or that this is some kind of a scam. Okay, it's not. But again, people have different experiences, and like I said, when I worked for the bank, I never saw any of this stuff that he's talking about in terms of milking money from the poor. But again, like I said, everybody has different experiences, and not everybody's me.
Last lie, maintenance fees. Banks are not
Yeah, maintenance fees are. I never really understood maintenance fees, to be honest with you. That is one thing which I will agree with. I know what I said previous, but yeah, maintenance fees. They don't need to maintain your account. They don't need maintenance fees. Now, maintenance fees generally did not pop up when I was working for the bank. I never really saw maintenance fees. Those usually came along with service fees with the checking accounts if you didn't meet the requirements. But any bank that charges maintenance fees, they don't need maintenance fees at all. Again, like I said, I never saw maintenance fees that much. They were usually mixed up with the service charges on the checking account if you didn't meet the requirements. That's true.
actually maintaining anything in your account. Let me know if you want a part 3.
Yeah, if you talk about maintenance fees, I was just rethinking this while I'm heard him say that. I don't know that I've ever seen a quote unquote maintenance fee on a bank account which met the requirements of a checking account. And I did that. I looked at bank accounts for 7 years. I never saw a maintenance fee apart from a service fee. So I don't know if we're talking about the same thing. I don't know if other bank accounts have maintenance fees apart from service fees.
3 of the lies that banks tell us from someone that works at a bank. Number 1, getting a new credit card improves your credit score.
No, it doesn't. Getting a credit card is like anything else. If you abuse it and you can't pay your credit, then your credit score goes down. It's like anything else.
False. I mean, it could help if you're not in debt or if you don't already have a credit card. But if you're already in debt, getting a new credit card is not going to do anything to improve your credit score. In fact, you're more likely to fall further in debt.
Right. Unless you don't need a credit card for most everything in this world nowadays. Credit cards are just not necessary.
Number 2, online banking is perfectly safe.
Online banking is like anything else. Online banking it's safe if you have good passwords, if you change your passwords, things like that on a regular basis. But online banking can be hacked in like anything else.
Not really. I wouldn't really call this one a lie, but there's no special high-tech security. It's as safe as any other website. Remember the Capital One data breach that compromised 100 million accounts? And that was in 2019. Other ways the banks make money off us. Overseas fees.
Yeah, that's one thing which I will agree with. If you go travel abroad and you take your debit card with you or your credit card with you, first of all, you need to alert the bank and let them know you're going to be using it overseas. They do not, under any circumstances, use an ATM card, ATM machine over there. Take cash in the United States, order the money at the bank. Go to the cash converter at the airport, whatever. Do not use an ATM machine because they will charge you an arm and a leg. Not only will the ATM over in Europe charge you, but the bank will charge you as well.
Absolutely no reason for that. ATM fees? No.
Again, I agree with that too. They charge you. Everybody knows the ATM fees. Back when I first started using ATM, they didn't charge you. You don't need to charge you a fee. That's just a way for them to make money. It's kind of like at the airline when they take money for your bags, your $30, completely unnecessary. And ATM fees, they don't need them, but and they really, really charge an arm and a leg for overseas fees.
No reason for that. Fun fact, the average ATM fee has gone up 2% since 2018. And it'll probably keep increasing because what can anyone do about it? While everyone gets poorer, the banks get richer.
Again, but there's a ways around that. That you don't have to go. You go to an ATM machine. Now, if you have a bank, one of the things I was always told that if you go to a Kroger store, a grocery store, and you ask for cash back, they'll charge you a fee. They don't. But there are ways around that.
Last one. Just because you qualify for a credit card or a mortgage does not mean they think you can afford it.
That's true, but most banks will not. Well, the bank that I work for didn't take advantage of this. I think I know where he's going with this. Let me see.
That's just the highest amount of money they think they can get out of you.
Like I said, the bank that I work for didn't do anything like that. But hey, other banks may have different practices.
Peace.
Yeah, just keep in mind, if you use a bank, that what a bank is, first and foremost, is a business. A bank is a business, and they're in it to make money. okay, off of you or for anybody else. They're going to take your money, they're going to invest it, but whatever they get from their investments, they're not going to share with you, no matter how, if you have $10, $100, $10,000, $100,000. Okay, that's the bank is there to make money. Make no mistake about it.
What's one thing that people say in your profession that's pretty much always a lie?
Oh, I've been waiting for this one. So when you go to pump a septic tank, you dig up the tank and you take the lid off. And most of the time, the homeowner is sitting there watching you. Now, on top of the tank, there's going to be like a crust layer. And the homeowner looks at it and goes, wow, that looks really full. And the pumper goes, yep, you're full. Time for a pump. Excuse me, motherfucker. You have no way of telling how full that is. A septic tank is always supposed to be full of water because the inlet and the outlet are at the top. You measure the actual contents based on the solids level, which you can't tell from looking at.
It looks like this is one of those, anytime you go, they're trying to just make some extra money off of you. And which is, look, I get businesses want to make money, but it's what you want them to be is honest, okay?
The top, you have to take a core sample with something called a sludge judge. Since pretty much no septic companies carry sludge judges, they just take the fucking money because they're there and they dug it up anyway. So yeah, when your septic guy says, oh, your tank's full, duh. So we put sludge judges on all the trucks in the company and stop just taking people's money if we didn't need to. We
found an honest contractor. That's look. It's something to keep in mind. You can now. I've never heard the term sludge judge before, but now I have, and I can ask about it. If you have one, then if you don't, kiss off. I'm not giving you any money.
We've taken a serious amount of shit from other companies because we educated people.
Good for you.
What's one thing that people say in your profession that's pretty much always a lie?
The doctor will be with you shortly.
Yep, that's a lie. I know that very well. If you've ever been to the doctor will be with you shortly. That's a perfect one.
But really, you should probably get your phone charger out of the car. And honestly, you should have somebody else pick up your children from school because nobody's going to be there in time.
What's one thing that people say in your
I agree with that.
Profession that's pretty much always a lie?
Oh, God. Okay, I lost my voice today, so I can't talk past this volume. But I'll say this. The biggest misconception about retail is that we like small talk.
We don't.
During a lunch rush. We don't. I lost my voice today, so I couldn't speak at work.
I have worked retail before, and we generally don't want to hear your life story.
There was a guy that came in, and he was talking to me for 15 fucking minutes.
15 minutes.
About his cat named Daryl. But I could not speak to tell him to fucking leave.
Well, that's one thing you're not going to tell him. You're not going to tell him to leave. But yeah, you don't give a rat's rear end about Daryl.
Because there's like 30 people in line. All I could do was just have a tear come out of my eye as I nod and try to whisper to him saying, sir, please leave.
Well, you're not going to say, please leave. You just want to say, please shut up. What did you come here for? Take it and do. Okay? Not necessarily just leave. Please take what you if you're going to buy something, buy it and leave. Okay? But leave does enter the thing. But yeah, sometimes you have people, there's 30 or 40 people, and you need to get to every single one of those people, or you and your coworkers are trying to get as help as many people as you can, and they want to tell you a story, and you don't want to hear about the story. Well, this was interesting. Okay, like I said, I worked for a bank, and I listened to what he had to say. I didn't agree with everything he said, but there were some things that were good to know. But I'm not going to apologize for the bank, but yeah, he's right about some of the things there, but especially the overseas fees. That's if you go abroad, do not use an ATM machine under any circumstances. Also, another thing, if you use your card, they'll also convert it as well. So keep that in mind. It's something you need to be aware of if you're traveling abroad. Well, this was interesting. Thanks for watching, and have a good rest of your day.